Well, hey guys, today we're going to do a video on choosing a good mixer for your DAW-less, D-A-W-less setup. For those who don't know, DAW-less means, or DAW-less means that you don't have a computer. Basically, you're relying on hardware to make your sound. So in this case, my setup, I've just got a quick and dirty setup I've done here. I've got the Akai MPC Live as my brains. It's my MIDI controller and my sequencer. I've also got over to the right off camera here, you've got an Analog 4, a JU06, a Roland SE02, and they're my main instruments. And I've also got some effects. I've got a Korg Chaos Pad and a Strymon Big Sky. But the main focus today is on the mixer here, which is the PreSonus Studio Live AR16. And why is it a good choice for a DAW-less setup is because it actually has a capture stereo recorder built into it where you can record directly the main mix straight onto SD card as a WAV file. And why is that cool? Well, if you are just jamming and you want to just get basically the main output, this mixer can do that for you and you don't have to plug it into a computer. It can do other things that are based on a computer with the USB connectivity, but in this case, we're specifically talking about using it as a standalone mixer without a computer, and that extra bonus is really cool. So what is it? Well, it's an 18-channel hybrid mixer that basically enables you to have 8 stereo single mono inputs and 4+1 stereo inputs. Now, so the last channel, or channel 17, 18, it's a mixed mode channel. It can be used as a RCA, a 3.5mm jack input, a Bluetooth audio, or it can take the computer's audio input via the USB. So pretty handy sort of mixer. It has limited amount of sends and no returns. It has inbuilt FX, and it does have some benefits of phantom power with your mic inputs, and a little bit of an EQ there. I would say okay preamps. It has 2 aux sends and an FX inbuilt send. The input onboard FX is pretty basic. I would probably only use the reverb. If you're beat sensitive, all the delays will be out of sync and there's no way to sync them as far as I know. It would be nice if there was a tap tempo. I'm not aware of it, or even a MIDI connection. So basically what you can do with this mixer is you can have some output going through it, and let's get some sound. That sound that comes into the main output can be recorded onto this SD card here. So let's try that. Let's click record, and I think it's recording. Okay, let's try playing that back. That's pretty cool. Probably the best thing about this mixer, it's actually quite big in terms of amount of inputs, 18 inputs, but it's also very light. So if you are, in this case, I've actually not used quite a lot of inputs here, so I could probably get away with a 12 or even an 8 input mixer. But if you do like to have that flexibility with extra inputs, it's got it. They do make an AR8 and an AR12 version of this as well. Let's talk a little bit about the connections here for each channel. Each channel provides a 60mm fader. It has an XLR mic input with a Class A preamp, and each of the 8 mono channels and 4 stereo channels gives you a line input, a low cut filter, a mute, a pan, and a solo with a pre-fader listen. And so you can plug in mics, keyboards, and much more with the same type of controls found on larger mixing consoles. The phantom power side of things also gives you global enabling with condenser microphones, and you can just simply switch it off when you're using dynamic mics. All mono channels feature a 3-band semi-parametric EQ with a sweepable mid-band. which gives you enough tone shaping precision to make each instrument sound its best. You also get 2-channel inserts to add to external processors if you want to. The 4-channel stereo channel provide a mic input as well, and 3 basic parametric. So you can see the EQ in these, it doesn't have that extra sweep. So let's get stuck into this. Let's play this track. Okay, now let's pull all the faders down and let's just have a listen to each of our instruments as we go. So this is the sequenced SE02. I've got it panned slightly to the left. So it's very, very dry sound. There's no effects on it at all. So what I've done is I've got the Mon 1 and Mon 2 connections here. I've got going out into my effects chain, which is the Kaoss Pad, the Analog 4, which I'm using the FX in, and the Big Sky. Now, let's just listen. What we need to do is mute some of these channels. Right, let's go. Okay, let's go. There we go. We can hear just that Roland SE02 going through. And I can play with the effects as I go. All right, so let's just look at the bass line now. No effects. Let's add that to our effects chain. So you can see here I'm using that stereo channel 11 and 12 as my return for my effects chain, but at the same time I can actually use it to play any of the let me just get myself in the right spot here before I start chatting about it. I can play any of the Analog 4 MIDI channels through it as well. Because it's MIDI controlled, the Analog 4, the delay is synced to my beat. So let's get the beat happening. And let's bring that bass line. And then just add some more instruments in. So you can see it's actually really quite a powerful mixer if you know how to use the FX sends and returns, you know, as a standard mixer should. But for my ears, do I get that rich sound out of it? I think it's just missing just a slight bit of mastering richness about it. Some of the other PreSonus mixers have it, This one, I just feel it's just lacking a little bit in that oomph. And anyone who uses mixers will know exactly what I mean. It's a technical term, oomph, or richness. Even if you play with these EQs, let's play with the bass line, for example. You can see that I've got the EQ on that bass line. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But I've got other setups that I've got here in the studio, and the dynamics of that EQ is just kind of not there. But anyway, I mean, that's not a major issue. What I suggest anyone does that listens to this mixer is give it their own go, listen to it with their own ears, find out if it's something that they want, and definitely try it out. If you want to use the PreSonus Studio Live AR16 in your DAWless setup, I think it's a great bit of kit. The AR16, the AR12 and the AR8, provided they've all got that stereo recorder with the SD card, that's a really, really good thing. Mainly because that you can get your mix right before you record, and you can EQ your mix, and you can effects your mix. So just recording into like a Zoom recorder doesn't give you that much of ability to control over your inputs, whereas a mixer does, and then your main outs can be recorded onto the SD card, or even you can go into something else. Now, just to branch off from the DAWless side of things, we can also use this mixer as a digital audio interface, and it actually has all those 16 channels come out individually into your computer via the USB driver. So you can actually record each of these channels individually, so you can jam. You're happy with your jam, you can go back, set it up with your computer and record it individually into a capture software or a DAW. Dare I say it, this is not a DAW video, this is a DAW-less video. So you may want to just ignore that part there. Anyway, thumbs up, guys, if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you've got one of these, or if you're thinking about getting one of these, or even just let us know what you actually are using now in your DAW-less setup for your mixer, and tell us what you think and why you think your setup is groovy. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.